Psych My Region Buddies brand. We are on episode 20. I believe this is 28. Let me double check. Yes, of the North American Weed Tour podcast. Today I've got Ian Rassman. What's up, Ian? How are you doing, brother?
What's up, Joey? Great to see you, brother.
Happy Sunday, man. I really appreciate you joining me today. I'm excited to talk about what you do with Los Angeles NORML, your background with Chosen Payments and the payment processing space. And most importantly, I cannot wait to discuss the impact of the SB 34 initiative. And so thank you, brother. I appreciate you. How are you doing on this beautiful Sunday morning?
I'm great. I'm honestly fantastic. Life is good.
And where in the world are you right now?
Marina Del Rey.
Marina Del Rey, California. You're next to the beach, correct?
Pretty close. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Must be nice. You know, not everywhere that cannabis is legal is in beautiful areas, is in beautiful places. And California is and Southern California particularly is wonderful because we have outdoor grows, we've got indoor grows. I know yourself doing a little bit of cultivation along just like I am. Can you talk to me a little bit about who you are and kind of what you do in the cannabis industry, so that way some of the people watching can get an idea if they're unfamiliar?
Yeah, sure. You know, Marina Del Rey, it's right adjacent to Venice Beach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Venice Beach has been a cannabis safe zone, if you will, for 50, 60 years. You know, it's been going on. People have spoken on the streets and on the sidewalks and out in public there. Venice Beach has long been a hotspot. So anyway, what do I do in the industry? Well, I run a nonprofit called Los Angeles NORML. We are a 50-year-old organization that advocates for consumer rights to cannabis. You know, it's quite different than industry advocates, right? We're out there advocating for the consumers, the average person, you and I, and the people that like to consume. Look at that. What do you got there? That looks
trying to show this berry dream real quick. See if I can get it to focus in. Oh, there she is.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. There we go.
So Los Angeles NORML is focused on the consumers and tackling issues such as, so Los Angeles, first of all, is a regional chapter of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws.
Okay.
So we work on laws at the local, state, and federal level. A couple of things that we are working on here in Los Angeles, making sure that we have appropriate taxes. It's consumer related issues, appropriate taxes for the cannabis that we buy, safe place to go purchase it, the economics of having to pay cash, carry cash with you into a dispensary, being a target for theft. So anything that's really consumer related, more access. It largely comes down to access, Joey, honestly.
Yeah.
Whether it's access because you don't have a dispensary within 50 miles of you because you live a little further out from the city, or maybe it's access because you have, look at that. It may be access because taxes are too high, right? So people may be priced out of being able to afford it. So it's really a lot of what we do comes down to access.
All right.
Cannabis.
So with Los Angeles NORML, you guys are, you're actively trying to change or push through more effective legislation that benefits the customers, that helps the patient.
That's right.
Wonderful. Because myself, coming from another state, when I first got to California, I couldn't really afford the recreational weed prices. And so I did find myself, when I was living in Carson, I found myself going to these Long Beach trap dispensaries, or what they call the black market dispensaries, which I don't like that terminology. But $25 rates, $30 rates, out the door, instead of it being 40, 45 or whatever. The taxes vary from area to area. And so I really appreciate what you guys do with LA NORML, because in Washington State, where we came from, we have very high taxes as well, but they don't put it on the customer. A $60 rate has always been a $60 rate, 45, 30, 35. California really, really puts it onto the patient side. It really, really put it onto the end consumer, so that way they can make their margins. And that's fine, because we got to do business, right? Businesses have to exist. Cost of existing is much different in Los Angeles, San Francisco, comparatively to Washington, or in Oregon for that matter, right? So all these different chapters of NORML, they all do different things in terms of patient access, correct?
That's correct. Yep.
And
There are 50 chapters, one per state across the country. States that have larger populations or more activity, like California, have a few different chapters. So we have California NORML, and then of course we have Los Angeles NORML. There's a very, very active chapter in Orange County.
Yep.
Getting a lot done. We have San Diego, Contra Costa. So we're really, a lot of different places in California have organized, gotten a team together, and jumped in on the bandwagon to try and, reform their local laws.
I think it's, and I love that, the only way that we can keep the country accountable is by, coming together as a community and understanding all of our differences and all of our similarities at the same time, and unite to get some change actually done. I know for the LA NORML group, we are, and I say we because I do attend the weekly as best as I can. It's been tough with Hall of Flowers and these events the last few weeks, but
you're there almost every week. I appreciate seeing you.
Hey man, I try. We were trying. I don't even know if it was 8 or 10 straight, but I know it was something like that. Hey man, every Tuesday you can count on me to be at Baja Cantina, basically Los Angeles NORML. It's a blessing to be able to end my work day with a group of friends and new family and work towards this SB 34 initiative and helping people, specifically veterans and, people experiencing homelessness and other, we'll call it situational troubles, helping them get access to the cannabis is something that I appreciate that you guys do. And so for those that don't know, could you share some information about what SB 34 is, that initiative, and what we're doing with that?
Sure, absolutely. Back before 1996, when we legalized medical cannabis here in California, at that time, the licensed supply chain was able to donate cannabis to people that were in need. All of that changed when we went recreational, and the ability to donate cannabis fell off of the legal train, if you will. So there was an effort to fix that because, donating cannabis on a compassionate basis is cultural here in California. It's hugely cultural, right? In fact, it's really, I would go so far as to say that a lot of the cannabis culture that we have in California grows out of that, those compassion days back in the 80s. And even earlier, when you had people like Dennis Perone and Brownie Mary, who were bringing cannabis out to cancer patients. Brownie Mary was baking brownies and delivering them in. And so this is really a lot of where California culture came from, is out of this movement of donating cannabis. If you don't mind, I'd like to tell you a little bit about Dennis Perone and Brownie Mary, because not everybody may know who they are.
Please. That definitely helps me and other people get a better understanding of the true impact of where this came from. So
yeah, so these people are very centric to the story of how it's possible for all of us that are in the industry to be here today. So let's see. So after serving in the United States Air Force in Vietnam, Dennis Perone moved to the Castro district of San Francisco, where he became a cannabis activist organizing smoke-ins. Now, before he became the author of California's Proposition 215 in 1996, which sought to allow the use of medical cannabis, as I mentioned, so he sold cannabis in the Castro district of San Francisco and saw firsthand in the 80s how AIDS patients benefited from it. So Dennis strongly believed that there was no such thing as recreational cannabis at all. He advocated that all cannabis was medical cannabis. So Dennis had known Brownie Mary since the 70s, and he was a big fan of the magic brownies that she sold. So Dennis and Mary worked together to distribute those brownies to the people that needed them. And in the early 80s, at the age of 57, Brownie Mary was arrested for selling brownies. And after pleading guilty, she was sentenced to probation and 500 hours of community service. Now, it was during this mandated community service that Mary joined the Shanty Project, and that was a support group for people with HIV and AIDS. Yep. And Mary noticed that the cannabis helped with the wasting syndrome that was characteristic of AIDS, and she also found this to be true for cancer patients. And so people began donating cannabis to Mary, and she began making brownies in the hundreds and distributing them to sick people free of charge. Mary was even known to use her monthly $650 Social Security check to help purchase baking supplies. And she continued working at the Shanty Project long after those 500 hours of service were completed. So compassionate cannabis donations to those in need certainly played a part in turning California cultural and public perceptions to the yes, perhaps cannabis was a medicine. So during the 80s and 90s, that was really what was happening. And when Dennis co-authored Prop 215, it was in fact called the Compassionate Use Act of 1996, and it permitted for the use of medical cannabis for those with a valid doctor's recommendation. And so for the next 20 years, compassionate care programs across the states were able to donate medical cannabis to low-income individuals, veterans, cancer patients, individuals suffering from AIDS, and a great many other conditions where cannabis has been known to bring relief to those that are struggling. And then in March of 2020, California Senate Bill SB 34 was passed and went into effect. And the goal of this was to supplement Prop 64 from 216, whereby the licensed supply chain in California once again had the opportunity to donate medical cannabis to those most in need and honor these traditions and the culture that helped shape the world's first legal medicinal cannabis market. So it is fitting and just that those of us from the community should honor and support the companies that are looking after our most vulnerable citizens. So we're really thrilled to be pushing forward on this program. We have over 50 brands and partners from within the industry that are currently participating in our compassionate care program. And I think right now we're taking care of over 450 patients every month between us and our partners in donating free medical cannabis. So that's not any small amount of people that are getting taken care of. And we're trying to grow that as fast as we can to get more and more medicine out there to the people that really need it. You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
Not everybody's looking at this in a recreational sort of manner, right? Like there's a lot of people that it's really medicine for them. So we're trying to encourage that, get more people from the industry to donate products and services, and spread this message of love, light, and medicine as far as we can, from Northern California to Southern California, from east to west. And what we'd really like to do, Joey, is we'd like to set the example on what other states and municipalities should be doing when they enact cannabis reform laws. They should be looking to, build a program that allows the industry to donate and to take care of the people in their communities that really need to be looked after.
100%. Where we come from in Seattle, and then where we're at here in LA, homelessness is a huge issue. Opiate addiction, huge issue. Yep. AIDS, HIV has traditionally and always probably will be larger issues. How do we help? You can't even necessarily solve every problem all the time, right? So this is where having these alternative solutions such as cannabis, having these alternative medicines such as cannabis become much more normalized thanks to groups like you guys, as well as just the constant, I would say, news, media pressure and real life pressure from parents and kids and real teens, and all these different stories that we've heard over the years. It's just really powerful what you guys are able to do, and to set the example across the rest of the country is, I wanted to be a part of that, being that I've lived all over the country. I've had friends get arrested in Texas. I've been cuffed sitting on the side of the road in a neighborhood for walking around a neighborhood smoking a joint, not thinking anything of it, and those are just certain things that we want to change culturally, right? And so with what you guys do, again, I appreciate it very, very much, and I thank you for the opportunity to be a part of the weekly meetings and the Taco Tuesdays and all these different things, bro. It's a good time. You guys have a really great group, man.
I love having your energy joining us every week. That means a lot to me. Everybody, as everybody on the team is a volunteer. Everybody puts in their time and donates their time to try and push forward on all these things that we need in our industry, because they believe in it. They believe the change needs to be there. And so it's amazing. I have to tell you, it's amazing to be part of an all volunteer organization where people are working. I mean,
Yeah.
getting things done on a volunteer basis. It's a beautiful thing.
So I know you guys have invited me out to, some of the events in the past, and I physically have actually driven by some of them when I'm busy doing my job, my day job. It's pretty entertaining to see, oh shit, this happening in real time. Like these are not just events that just, oh, they get promoted and the donations happen, and they're not like real things. Like these are real things out in the community. And so talk to me a little bit about, describe what, the setting for an event. Where do you do that at? What kinds of brands typically are involved? Where do you do them, and how does it look?
Sure. Typically we would either do these events at a dispensary. So the thing about SB 34 is we have to follow the California law as it exists. Everything about SB 34 says follow the existing law. So that means that the only people that can hand out the bag to a patient is going to be a dispensary. It must go to the consumer from a dispensary. Now, as you know, we have different kinds of dispensaries here in California. We have traditional brick and mortar, and then we have delivery. So in the case of a traditional brick and mortar dispensary that wants to do an SB 34 program, we will typically set it up either in the store itself or perhaps in the parking lot. And if we do a parking lot setup, then we'll bring our pop-up tent. A lot of the brands that are participating will bring their tents, and maybe we'll plan for a 3 or 4 hour event, from 12 to 3 or something like that. And then all of the pre-registered patients, usually in groups of 25. We try to do, every event has at least 25 patients, maybe 50 if we get enough brands that are kicking in enough product. So we'll set that up at the location of the dispensary, bring all the brands out, try to make a nice event out of it, invite local media, whatnot to cover it. And in the case of a dispensary, it has, I'm sorry, in the case of delivery dispensaries that want to get involved in the SB 34 program, then we'll typically need a location for them to deliver to, right? They have to deliver to a private address here in California. So we have many partners like American Legion Posts, have, spots all around the city. And we've found that they are very friendly to these SB 34 events. So we'll typically go down to, an American Legion Post, like for example, American Legion Post 397 in Monterey Park. We do a monthly event with them and with Pineapple Express and a lot of other brands. So Pineapple Express delivers down to the American Legion Post. These delivery events are really beautiful because you have a support group that develops. So for example, down at the American Legion Post 397, they have an outdoor area under a tent where their members and their patients can come and consume. So we'll deliver to that event because it's private. People will get their bags, and then there's a tent around the side of the building where they will go sit and consume their cannabis and support each other. It's so much more than just the medicine itself. There's conversation, there's support from people that are in similar situations than yourself. So it really is a support group. So to attend one of those events, where we've delivered into a particular location, it's truly beautiful. Seeing people coming in and getting their bag of medicine. And, I've seen grown men crying in this line. Tough military guys, like with tears in their eyes that somebody's just handed them a bag of medicine. Typically, these bags are worth anywhere from $300 to $500, so it's not any small donation that they're receiving. And they start looking through the bag, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to use this to sleep, and this one's going to calm me down during the daytime. And to hear the stories talking about where these people are talking about what the medicine's going to do for them and how they perhaps couldn't afford it, and all these things. I mean, they get weepy. I get weepy. Sometimes it turns into a hugging and a support group. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, the love that comes out of these things are are just wild.
Well, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I used to be a bud tender, and sometimes you get those conversations in the store. You get them on the floor, and just the simple discounts, the simple little but free product or whatever it is, or just a shirt for their favorite brand. A lot of people, just really resonates with them. And I know for myself as a patient, I've been in the ER over 12 times, I think, maybe 13 times for kidney stones. And
Ouch.
so I know that, although I've got a, consistent job and things now, it wasn't always so easy, and that's where having those kinds of discounts and having those, the occasional gifts or getting something to rock your favorite brand or whatever it is, like that stuff really means a lot, especially when your life every day isn't easy, and so for you guys, SB34 has already had major impact. Are you able to, you probably don't know the exact number, but roughly how many events have you guys put on already?
Well, that's a solid question. We're up to about one a week right now. All around Southern California. We're doing, I think last time we checked, we're covering 6 counties. We really have an event going on every week. We started in March of 2020. Give a big shout out to Cannabis Works and the Veterans Cannabis Coalition, Shelley McKay, Eric Gopel. Literally March 1, the very first day that the SB 34 was enacted and ready to go, those two popped out with a compassion event on day one. They were the first in the state, and certainly first in the world to set up a program to donate medical cannabis from within the industry out to these patients. So how many events have we done? I really don't know. It's really been about
one a week since last March or May, you said?
March. So one a week for almost a year and a half. I'm not sure.
6 months to 4 weeks, 24.
I would say we were doing one a week at the beginning, but we're definitely doing one a week now.
That's very cool. I mean, either way, to get up there, to be up there in that 10, 15 to 20 range, it's very impressive. And you guys are helping 25 to 50 patients, per event. That's huge. You're helping real people. They we need it. There's people out there that they need it. And even now in the recession and with the COVID, having, ruined lives for well over, going into 2 years. Gosh, the impact that you guys are able to have are huge. Now, for a brand that's trying to participate, can you walk me through a little bit of that process? Obviously, there's a number of brands that already do participate. If you wouldn't mind shouting some of those out, and then kind of, what it takes to get involved for the rest of them.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Let me, I got a small little list of the people that are involved here just to refresh my memory. So actually, if you go to our website, lanormal.org, and that's spelled NORML. We go there now. So if you go to lanormal.org, we have a link there. Hold on. And it is, here's the full URL if you want to go directly to that page, lanormal.org/SB-34. So anyway, go into our website, lanormal.org. You can click on community, and SB34 Compassionate Donation Act tells you a little bit about the program, who can participate in the program. And it's really anybody in the licensed supply chain in California. If you have a cannabis license, you can participate. And we're also bringing in ancillary businesses such as law firms, technology companies, people that don't actually touch the plant, but they're still involved in the industry and they want to be part of this donation program. Then we're bringing those partners in, perhaps to be the water sponsor, to be the media sponsor, or to provide what they can to help make that event a success.
Yep.
Some of the companies that are participating, again, a big shout out to the Veterans Cannabis Coalition, and Eric Gopel, who's really the one that came to me and said, Ian, do you know about SB34? And I was like, no, Eric, actually not very much. And he laid it down on me. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is fire in a bottle, Eric. We have to do this and we have to put all of our energy into it. And he was all about it. So Eric at the Veterans Cannabis Coalition, he's also on our board of directors here at Los Angeles NORML as our director of veteran affairs. So we have a number of brands and distributors that are participating. We have Herbal and Navis, Pineapple Express, Amuse, Pacific Stone, Rove, Big Pete's, Can of Fame, Canex, Claiborne, Compton Veterans, Fiddler Screens, Deer Cannabis, Medleaf, Papa and Barkley, Raw Garden, Evac, Vet CBD, Santa Cruz Veterans Cannabis Alliance, Weed for Warriors. We have over 50 brands now participating in the program and participating in SP.
Man, that sounded like a festival lineup, man. That was just a bunch of bangers. I love it, man. Holy shit, let's go.
I don't have my glasses on, and so the webpage I was looking at, the print was a little small, but
you're in the suit. You're in the suit on the Sunday. I felt like I was at a UFC fight. I felt like you're Bruce, that announcer, and it's just banger after banger. Just damn, let's go. SP34, man. Any companies out there, man. You guys better get involved and start uplifting the community, man. This is JP. This is Ian Rassman. We're talking about the LA NORML SP34 initiative. Go back, listen to the rest of the episode so far. There's a lot of powerful information here. They're helping veterans. We help people with experiencing homelessness, people that are in need of more accessible, affordable cannabis. He mentioned there's these bags for the people who pre-sign up, who pre-register, right? You're able to, they're worth something like $300 to $500 depending on how much is there and who's participating and all that good stuff. And so, for any veterans out there, if you guys are in need, please reach out, drop a comment. If you have any friends or family that need this, drop a comment, send us a DM. Ian is available on Instagram. He's available on LinkedIn. You can always reach out. IANRASSMAN on LinkedIn. Adam, search Los Angeles NORML. You guys, obviously, if you're watching this show, add me, hit me up. It's very important that we continue to give patients access to cannabis, right? And now in California, particularly for cannabis, not all the cities, not all the counties have legalized it. There's an astronomically large portion of the state that still is not for it.
Greater portion of the state.
Yeah.
Is still not for it.
Yeah. And then you look over at Maine right now. Maine legalized recreational cannabis. The cities aren't doing it. They're not selling it. They don't want to participate in it. And so recreational cannabis, although it is it is accessible for people, right? It isn't necessarily the best situation for the people, the industry, the brands that are participating. And so, Ian, can you talk a little bit about some of the other initiatives or some of the other things that Los Angeles NORML has been working on, or what you guys are currently working on in addition to SP34?
Yeah, sure. So consumption lounges, that's one of the big things that we're working on. We have a few people on our team that are working on trying to push forward consumption lounges. So again, this comes down to access. Again, Joey, it's always coming down to access. So now if you if you purchase your cannabis, so where are you going to consume it? Right now, the way
not at a hotel, you can't.
At a hotel. Really, truly, actually, where you can legally consume cannabis is in your own home. But if you don't actually own a home, and perhaps you're living in an apartment or a condo or something like that, you very well may be subjected to the laws of that place where you live, and multifamily units are frequently no smoking, and that's a blanket no smoking rule, which applies to everything, and even cannabis vaping can be part of that. In fact, the city of West Hollywood, was it last year, I think, they had an initiative on the table to outlaw all kinds of smoking, absolutely any kind of smoking, in all multifamily units in West Hollywood. Now, think about this for a second. West Hollywood. Okay. First of all, they had the first consumption lounge anywhere in the country over there with Lowell Cafe. And they actually have quite a number of dispensaries that have been licensed in West Hollywood. So what's the messaging there, right? Like, you're the city of West Hollywood, so you give out some licenses and you say, yes, great, you guys can.
They gave out 16. They gave out 16 consumption lounge licenses at one point, if I'm not mistaken. I remember
And then,
reading the article from Seattle, like, holy shit, West Hollywood's about to be freaking popping.
yeah, but it's not. Um, and there's only that Lowell Cafe is the only consumption lounge that I'm aware of over there at all.
It's not even open no more.
And it's not even open anymore. But it was open for a little while. But what was the messaging that the city of West Hollywood is trying to get out there? Okay, we've licensed all these dispensaries. Please feel free to go buy some product, but don't even think about using it unless you bought an edible. Don't even think about smoking it, because you can't smoke on our public streets. You can't smoke on the sidewalk. And they were trying to enact a law that you couldn't smoke in any multifamily buildings. So now, if you're not wealthy enough to own your own home, access again, if you're not wealthy enough to own your own home, you have no legal place to go and consume your cannabis. So us, Los Angeles NORML, and many other partners all jumped at the opportunity to shine a light on this upcoming city council meeting, and to get people in there and get them to phone in and get them to send in emails and explain the situation, that this was not going to be okay. So we had a strong coalition of many other advocacy groups that came in, and we all put on a strong message that this was not going to be okay to outlaw cannabis, and there were economic and social implications, and then it was two-faced of them to be issuing cannabis licenses and then say, well, yeah, but you got to go to somebody else's city to smoke it. So we were fortunately successful, and the vote went down 3-5, and they made an exception to put medical cannabis outside of their no smoking regulations. So
that's good.
That was a big success, right? And again, wouldn't have happened if we hadn't been part of a coalition of a great many advocacy groups. People are getting pretty upset about this one, as were we.
I mean, and understandably so. To just live somewhere and to have it be so restrictive on things that at one point you used to be able to do. It's like, yeah, this used to be a freedom that is included in what you can do. Yeah, we're gonna just start inching closer and closer and pulling things back. Like, come on, man. Especially in terms of something that's literally about medicinal benefits and patients. Like, this is written into the state that this is a medical situation. How can you just group it into something like tobacco or liquor or any of the other schedule whatever drugs? It's just frustrating, man. I'm sick of that shit. We gotta stand up. You gotta fight and change it. And that's the part of the thing. I'm arguably one of the more younger guys at all these other NORML events, and that's where I wanted to work with you guys so that way we can encourage this next generation of advocates to come in. Am I going to be the person that's out on the stairs and the steps waving signs? No, that's not me. We're in the era of social media. I'm about to make some shit to go viral and try to get it in front of their faces that way. 100 million people all trying to do something is way different than 100, 200 people yelling outside, in my opinion. And so
you mentioned that you're on the younger side of this advocacy movement. I'll tell you though, that's where it's at, 100%. We need the next generation of advocates coming in and getting involved and having them be part of the society that they want to live in.
Correct.
Define it. The older guys, me and generations older than myself, we're not going to be around as long as the younger generation, and so this is really where the energy is coming from. And I appreciate that you're involved all the time. I mean, your involvement's really been amazing. And I encourage everybody to come out and get involved. Go to lanormal.org, sign up, follow along, follow us on Instagram. If you are looking to be part of the compassionate programs, follow us on Instagram. We post these events when they're coming up, and you can register. And maybe it's an event for veterans, or maybe it's an event for Crohn's disease or cancer or lupus or many of the different things that cannabis has been known to have an effect on. So
even if you don't know if you have a qualifying condition, reach out, register, and come out and talk about it. Come 100%. Learn, come get some education, come network, come meet some people who really care, and you'll be able to get a better idea at the end of the day. And it's not like we're going to turn people down who come up and are, who are clearly communicating what's going on or who are unsure. This is more about, again, access. We're not going to be the people restricting access. Like we got it. We're out here helping people. So for a brand that wants to get involved, what's the best way for them to reach out, and kind of what's a little bit of info on that process?
Absolutely. Come to lanormal.org. You can contact us. You can contact myself directly. Send us a message on social media. Say, hey, I want to get involved. I'm a brand. We do have a form on that webpage where you can just pump in your phone number and we'll call you back and see to what extent you want to get involved if you're an industry company and what you want to do. So this SB 34 program works best when you have all the different parts of the supply chain involved, right? So you want to make sure, because the way that the law is broken out, let me tell you, actually, one of the things I forgot to mention is what's the business benefit of being part of the SB 34 program? We talk so much about the love benefit, right? Like we know that there's community benefit there in taking care of your community. But let's be honest, there's a real business benefit to being involved in this compassionate care program. So the way that the economics works on this is that when you are a licensed, when you're part of the licensed supply chain, you're in the track and trace system here in California called Metric. So if we properly coordinate a donation through each one of the parts of the supply chain, then each one of those parts of the supply chain can deduct out the tax that they pay. So cultivators pay a tax here in California, right? You pay a basic tax on the per pound of flower. So then when that flower goes off to be perhaps manufactured into something else, there's a manufacturer's test. And then when it gets transported, there's a distribution tax. And then when it gets tested, there's testing tax. When it gets sold, there's a retail tax. So there's all these multiple taxes that sit on top of cannabis here in California, whether it's medical or recreational. All these taxes sit on top of it. If you are a medical patient, some taxes are able to be deducted, but not all of them. But if you are part of the industry and you're donating into this compassionate care program, you can deduct all of your portion of the tax. So any cultivators that are participating can deduct all of the cultivation tax. They just go into their metric system, tag this many pounds of flower as SB 34, and boom, now they don't have to pay the cultivation tax. So if you properly coordinate this cultivation, manufacturing, distribution, retail, testing, you get everybody coordinated, you've taken off every single one of those taxes, right? So now we have a product that, well, it's really much more affordable once you've taken off. You were probably stunned when you first got here to California. And you're like, wait, how much was the tax on that, right? Like that has to be like an immediate reaction when you get to California. You're like, well, wait a minute, it was $99 and now it's $150. What happened? Yeah, we have like, you can be in certain parts of California and be looking at 40-50% tax. It's devastating, right? So if you're able to take off the tax, now you're talking about distributing a product that's just much cheaper, right? So there's solid economic benefits to donating cannabis. We're going to put you out there in the community, tell everybody what a great job you're doing in donating this cannabis. There's amazing marketing opportunities, right? To get the message out to your community. And we amplify that message to say, this dispensary, look at what they're doing. They're taking care of 25 veterans every single month. On a Saturday, they're doing a cannabis giveaway. And, we lift them up, applaud them, hold them out, tell everybody what a great job they're doing. So this is, the opportunity to go out on social media with some video of cancer patients or veterans receiving their bag of product. Look at that. That's nice. Yeah, little buddy's going right there.
Come on.
So that's the magic right there for people to participate. Deduct off the tax, make it cheap, do an event, invite the public, tell everybody about it. We will tell everybody about it. And, this is a beautiful thing to be able to tell your community, hey, why should you shop here? Because we care. We care about our community. We're taking care of the people here that can't afford it and that need it. We're taking care of them. That's what we're doing for the community. So it's a beautiful thing. And I think that the power there, when you're out there demonstrating love into your community, I mean, what's better than that?
I agree. I mean, like you said, to not only bring people together, but then to create a little bit of the opportunities for brands to get the messaging out there that they're a part of the community. I mean, not everybody's about, look at me as I'm helping build a community, right? That's definitely a part of it. And shout out to those people as well, moving behind the scenes or being a part of things and just uplifting without the notoriety. I think those are definitely a special kind of people. We also don't want to, dismiss the fact that other brands are definitely trying to be a part of it, to help people, and then also to be a part of the marketing, so to help bring more opportunity to this, to repost and to reshare. Some of the brand partners you guys have large communities built in. They have lots of fans. They have thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even 100,000 or more. So it's very exciting and it's very cool. I know that the events are very powerful, and I can't wait to physically be able to attend one here, hopefully very soon. Do you have some info on some of the next ones that are coming up?
It's those details don't stick in my head so well. So we put it up on our website. Go to lanormal.org. We're constantly uploading the events there, so you'll see what's coming up next.
For sure. Shout out to the website, lanormal.org. You guys actually utilize it for a lot of different updates. It's very important to help get the word out there, the SEO value of getting that out there. You already know that's my nerdiness. Shout out to all of that and your team helping you with that. Now, Ian, let's go ahead and switch gears. You are also an entrepreneur for Chosen Payments. Talk to me a little bit about what you do in the payment processing world.
Yeah, I've been doing payments for, I don't know, nine years or so. Very traditional type of payments, bars, restaurants. I do a lot of limo, black car business. Any business that accepts credit cards. I'm a credit card processor, so I help facilitate that process, bringing in the equipment, moving the money off of the customer's credit card into the merchant's bank account. That's traditionally what I do. So 4 years or so ago, I started getting Gesundheit there.
That's the terp sneezes.
So
them buddies too. You guys.
Fire.
Oh my God.
So 4+ years ago, I decided to start spending more of my time and energy in the cannabis industry, recognizing that things were largely kind of messed up in the cannabis industry. What I do outside of the cannabis industry for bars and restaurants, I cannot do for retailers in cannabis. They don't have access to traditional credit card processing like Visa and MasterCard. They cannot accept that. Visa and MasterCard have a very clear policy that thou shalt not purchase cannabis or sell it on Visa, MasterCard. They just don't want anything to do with it. So yeah, and this we hope is going to change when the federal laws change, and that these credit card companies don't have this fear of getting involved in the industry because it's a Schedule I narcotic, and they don't want to get accused of being drug smugglers and whatnot. So, so nobody's touching that right now. So there are very few options for retailers that are looking to sell cannabis in anything other than cash, right? Cash is so terrible for everybody. It's terrible for the industry. It's terrible for us as consumers. Who wants to walk down the street with $200 in your pocket because you're on your way to the dispensary? Like, I don't ever carry that kind of money on me. I might have $20 or $40 maximum. The industry itself needs better access to payments. As I mentioned, it's very restricted in the types of things you're allowed to do. Really, at the moment, the only thing that you can do without getting into trouble is cashless ATM, PIN debit ATM transactions. That's it. There's no credit. There's no Visa, no MasterCard. So that's what I do for dispensaries. I set them up with the hardware to accept ATM cards, so that when you go into a dispensary, typically there's a cash machine in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
I also do those cash machines, but then you can also walk with your ATM card to the counter, insert it into a little device, the same thing you might put it into when you go to Starbucks to buy a coffee. Put your ATM card in there, enter in your PIN number. It's this much for your purchase today. Yes, no, PIN number, and away you go. So those are the types of payments that I do today. If you are a mobile delivery company, then I have that same hardware that's battery operated on a 3G, 4G signal so that you can go to the customer's house and they can pay for their product right there on the front steps through that hardware. So that's what I do. It helps take some of the cash out of the business. Nobody likes the cash. I think consumers, we don't like being limited by the cash in our pockets. Perhaps, we got big eyeballs and we want to get that chocolate bar and we want to get that pre-roll and I ran out of money. We need proper access, just like Target and Walmart. When you go in there to buy something, you're not thinking about how much cash do I have on me. You're going to get the things you got to get, or the things, and then you're going to probably make a couple of spontaneous purchases, which is why all these places accept credit cards, so that when you get to the checkout, you can pay for whatever you selected while you were in the store.
Yeah.
So the same's true for cannabis. People will walk around the store. Probably you went in to buy an eighth, but then when you're in there, you're like, oh, that chocolate bar looks pretty good. And oh yeah, there's that party tomorrow. I better bring a few pre-rolls, so you want people to be able to be like, spontaneous purchase in your dispensary. So when you're accepting other than cash, typically your average sale amount will go up by, as much as 30%. So if you're a dispensary, to enable your customers to spend more in the store, that's important.
Definitely something you want to be able to do. I know myself personally, every time I find out that a dispensary takes card, I know I'm spending over $100.
That's right.
Every time.
You definitely going to spend more.
That's what's crazy too. What's crazy too is if you got an ATM, and this is just simple, easy. Like if you got an ATM and your ATM only allows you to take out $200, but you can sell more than $200 worth of product. What are you doing? Not figuring out a way to take their digital money? Like, come on. Like just because the situations that you're aware of already hasn't worked for you to take cards. This is why I got you on the episode, man. You're here to figure it out with all my people who complain about not being able to take cards or banks and this and that. Get on the phone with Ian. If he can't do it for you, he's going to point you in the direction of someone that can. Why? He's a trusted resource in the cannabis industry. He knows a lot of quality people. He's connected to people on LinkedIn. He's connected to people through LA NORML. And payment processing is a vital part of this industry because it does all revolve around patient access, right?
Yeah,
you're a human that's 100% times two about giving patients the ability to buy what they want, where they need to buy it, without too much difficulty and not, we'll call limited taxation. There is going to be taxes, so taxes on everything. So,
yeah, that's right. And when you do everything in cash, I mean, what's the best way to make sure that anything becomes corrupt? Do it all in cash, right? I mean, it's just insane that we've got, a multi-billion-dollar industry and, a lot of it's operating in cash. Like,
it's crazy.
It's just not good. There's nothing good about it.
Think about that too. Take it to other levels. We got to go to the bank. We got to drive to the banks. Now we're on the roads. Now we're damaging the roads more. It's just more extra trips, more extra time, more extra gas, more extra money. Is it maybe in the economy? Yeah, but the more we spend money in the economy, the more wear and tear we break on the economy as well. So we only getting bigger. We got to help patients out. Is there anything else that you do in the cannabis industry outside of the payment processing in LA NORML? I don't think I've ever even asked you
that. That's a good question. Really, I spend all my time doing my advocacy work with NORML. We have a big team. We have 14 people on our team, so it's a big group, and everybody's looking to me for some leadership every week. So keeping the initiatives rolling, and doing payments and helping people find banking. I don't do banking, but in order for me to provide payments to a dispensary, they must have a bank account. Some of them struggle with bank accounts. Again, this is an access issue. And so I have made a lot of partnerships along the way in my years in payments. So I know the banks to introduce you to. So, if you're a local business that's struggling for banking access, call me. I'll introduce you. For me, it's a problem solving thing that I just do to keep people moving forward. Solve their banking problem, introduce them to a bank, let them get that sorted out. Once that's sorted out, I can do their plastic card payments. And, you know, we try to get all of this business into the banking system. It's important that this money flows just like it would flow if you were buying something at Target or Starbucks or McDonald's. This money has to go into the banking system. We have to know it's there. We have to track it. We have to pay taxes on it. All these things must happen. This running around in cash, it's just not right, and it's not gonna be a good end.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely don't feel super safe walking around after pulling out, $100, $200 at an ATM at a dispensary, especially if I have to park like down the road anywhere. You just see too many videos, whether it is in Seattle or whether it is in, LA, of just things happening. We hear these stories, and it's just nobody has time for that. Not when it's all about medicine. Not when it's all about the medicine. So for LA NORML, is there anything that you have that you want to discuss? That you want to shout out? Is there any particular humans? Is there anything particular events coming up that you want to show love to before we get on out of here?
I will give a shout out to the people on the team. Like I mentioned, Los Angeles NORML, it's an all volunteer organization. So we wouldn't be able to accomplish anything without the people that are part of our team and showing up every week to volunteer their time to try and make this a better industry and a better community for us. So big shout out to Bruce Margolin, our founder and director emeritus, who started the Los Angeles chapter of NORML in 1973.
Wow.
Yeah.
He just turned 80. And Bruce just turned 80.
Bruce just turned 80 last week. Yes,
Happy birthday, Bruce. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Bruce. That man is just a ball of energy and fire, though. Like at 80 years old, of course, he's there every Tuesday night hanging out with us, right?
Smoking.
Just going strong. So Bruce is our founder and director emeritus. He's legendary. He's OG. Super tip of the hat to Bruce.
Bruce.
The rest of the team wouldn't be here without him. Joey, lots of other people in the industry really owe our ability to even be involved to some of these legendary OG people that have been in this for decades, Joey, just decades.
Yeah.
He's been in there a long time.
That's you said 73. He's almost at 50 years in the game.
Yes. So NORML as a large organization was founded in 1970 by Keith Stroup. I was also founded in 1970, year I was born.
Yeah.
So me and NORML, we were sort of destined to come together, I feel. So 1970 was the larger NORML. 1973 is when Bruce started LA NORML. Certainly one of the first chapters around the country.
Wow.
So myself, I'm the executive director and president at Los Angeles NORML. Elizabeth Mack is our director of health and wellness. Nicholas Castelli is our director of communications. Hirsch Jane, our director of government affairs. Louis Rivera, our director of social equity. Stephanie Uwe, our deputy director of government affairs. Brett Maccomer, our director of technology. Ryan Barrier, director of lighting and sustainable energy. Eric Gopel, director of veterans affairs. Calvin Harris, director of strategy and development.
Shout out to Calvin Harris.
Shout out to Calvin Harris.
My man, Calvin Harris.
And Maha Huck, our director of education, and Dr. Swathi Varanasi, our director of science. That's the team showing up here every week, volunteering their time, putting in their energy for our community to try and, push this reform forward. So those are definitely the people I would give a big shout out to. Huge supporters like yourself. Joey, you've been an amazing energy for us, bringing the team in, bringing in Respect My Region, shining a light on advocacy. I appreciate the energy from people like you, brother.
No, thank you. I appreciate what you and the entire team have done. Big shout out to Bruce. Happy birthday, Bruce. I was with Maha a few different times over at Hall of Flowers. So big shout out to Maha and everybody else on the team as well, man. You guys have done some really powerful and impactful work. and it attracts people like me. And it's, something that my team and I, that we're proud to be a part of week in and week out, in our own special way. So you guys are definitely going to see more from Los Angeles NORML and the Respect My Region group. Ian, you and I have some event stuff to discuss coming up that some maneuvers have been made. Hall of Flowers moving and shaking now. People are with it. People are moving and shaking in their own, lanes, and we're all going to be able to come together and I think, what do they say? That the rising tide lifts something like that. Yeah. So I remember you guys saying that shit at one of the LA NORML meetings, and I was like, I've been hearing that more and more. And so here we go. As a community, we all work together. We all grind. We all shine. So
that's right.
I'm very appreciative of you, Ian. Thank you for being on the episode today. Everybody, this was episode 28 of the North American Weed Tour podcast. Before we get out of here, I just want to shout out the people that provided the high in my question, because I freestyle every part of these interviews based on the highs and the weed that I smoke. So if you guys feel that I have a bad episode, my only excuse was the smoke. So right now I'm smoking on, just so you guys can see, this was the Jawbreakers that we did from Traditional. They just launched a dispensary in downtown LA. This is the Lollipop right here. And I really enjoy their branding on these. Another Traditional one. And then this Berry Jane from Ember Valley was pretty crazy. It was one of the most beautiful blue. It looks very much like a Blue Dream. So before I say it is, I'm going to confirm with them. But one of the best Blue Dreams I think I've ever smoked, and arguably one of the best looking indoor grown Blue Dreams I've ever seen. So big shout out to that. And then, of course, you guys saw me choking on some Buddy's brand live resin. So shout out to my employer, the always behind the scenes sponsor for my vape, lifestyle. Ian, thank you again so much. Everybody, please like, follow, subscribe. Go connect with Ian on LinkedIn. Feel free to drop a comment, shoot me a DM, whatever you guys need to do. I'm happy to put you in contact. Of course, go follow LA. I believe it's LA_NORML, correct, on Instagram?
On Instagram, it's all fully spelled out. Los Angeles NORML.
Yeah. Okay. So just go
follow the LA NORML one. It's a rogue account. Los Angeles spelled out.
All right, everybody. Yeah. So I retract my statement. Go follow at Los Angeles NORML, NORML. Los Angeles spelled Los Angeles. Tap in, give them a follow, drop them some comments, some likes, repost some stuff. And then, of course, if you guys would like to show up every Tuesday at Baja Cantina, we may switch one out here and there, but definitely have some exciting things on the horizon. So appreciate everybody for watching. Ian, thank you again. Air 5 through the camera. Appreciate you, brother. And I will see you today, Sunday. I will see you in 2 days.
Tuesday. I'll see you on Tuesday.
Ian's there around 4:20. I get there around 6. You guys come through. It's delicious. I love you all, Ian.
Baja Cantina, Venice Beach, Tuesday at 4:20.
Pacalolo 30 at 4:20. I'll see you Tuesday, man. Thank you again, brother.
See you Tuesday, brother.